Hey mathematicians, let's do your homework. All right, so we have Marianne buying a birthday gift for her friend. The gift costs $23.45 and the tax is 8% of that amount. Which is the best estimate of the amount of tax that she will pay for this gift? So this is your total amount and we're looking for 8% of it. We can say our totals go on the bottom. We know percents are out of 100. And that's kind of a difficult relationship. You could simplify to 4/50ths or 2/25ths. Well, 25 is pretty close to 23, actually. We could try that because it does say estimate. That wasn't actually the strategy I thought I was going to tell you about, but that works too. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So since 25 is a little bit bigger than 23, but not that much, I would estimate that we're going to pay around $2, maybe a little bit less, which is C. That worked. The strategy I was going to tell you, which is how I personally solve real life percent problems when I'm like giving a tip or figuring out like how much is that actually going to cost me, I find 1% of a number. So when I do it, I find 1%, which if you have 100% and you divide it by 100, that gives you 1%. So if I divide this number by 100, that really means I'm moving the decimal 2 spaces to make it a smaller number. So 1% is this number. And then I multiply it by whatever I have, by 8. So if we were looking for the exact answer, you could move your decimal twice to find 1% and then just do that times 8, and that would give you precisely the exact amount of money that tax was. But since it's an estimate, we're good, we're done, we're moving on. Prime factorization of 48. Remember, you are not allowed to pick an answer, even if it equals 48, that has composite numbers in it. So like 2 to the power of 2 is 4, and 4 times 12 does equal 48, but 12 is a composite number, not a prime number, so that doesn't work. So you need to do your own prime factorization of 48, build your factor tree. There it is, a little bit bigger. Think, okay, so I do know that 12 times 4 makes 48, but those are both composite numbers, so keep breaking them down and figure out which one is all prime numbers and does have a product of 48. We talked about this one in class quite a bit, talking about all these new vocab words that have to do with finances and money, but essentially we're looking for the statement that is not true, and even if you don't remember what I taught you really briefly in the beginning of class about what deposits are, what fee means, what a daily balance or a direct deposit is, or what an overdraft fee is, you could actually figure out this problem without knowing any of that information by just reading each answer choice and then looking at the chart and being like, well, that's not true. Like, I can see it in the chart. But we will spend a lot more time talking about these types of vocab words as soon as the STAR test is over. We're going to be spending like almost 3 weeks on my very favorite unit, which is talking all about money. On the back, what expression is equivalent to that? Since I see parentheses, that really tells me I should do that first, but I actually don't know how to combine negative 3x and 2 since they're not both in terms of x. So I can't do any combination there. So I move on down the list to no exponents. Oh yes, multiplication. This, smushed against the parentheses, says 6 times everything in the parentheses. And officially, you could do it even if it was 6. It doesn't look like this, but even if it looked like this, technically you would get the same answer if you distributed the times 6 to both terms and then combined your like terms. But we're definitely not going to be able to combine x's and constants, which are just plain numbers, but you can do the distributive property. The model below shows 5x equals 8. What is the value of x in the equation? 5x equals 8. The beautiful part about this is you didn't actually need the picture. If the picture helps you, that's great. I can see that if I wanted to solve it by the picture, I'd say this one goes with this x, 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 this one goes with that x. Oh no, I have 3 left. So I'm going to have 1 whole, and then I'm going to have to break that 3 into 5 equal parts. Or you can ignore the picture completely and isolate x by doing the opposite of times 5. X equals 8/5, or 8 divided by 5. And then you can just check it out. What is 8 divided by 5? 5 goes in 8 one time. That's because I said that you get one whole in each. Oh, look, I have a remainder of 3, just like I saw in my picture. I'm going to split that 3 into 5 parts. You can write your remainder like that in fraction form, or you can add a decimal, since all the answer choices have decimals, not fractions, and say, oh, how many times does 5 go into 30? 6 times. Hey, by the way, 3/5 is equivalent to 6/10. So there's your answer. Last but not least, the area of a rectangle. Oh wait, area of a rectangle. Area equals base times height. Or since I see W and I see the word width, oh, I see length too. The other way to say it is length times width. The area is 56. The length is 14. Which one is the width? Notice that none of them actually have an answer, even though you could solve for that answer. They're just asking you what's the correct setup. Like, how would you set up that equation? So plug them into the correct spots, and then you don't need to do any more math than that. Just circle the one that matches your work. And you're done with your homework.